Yes. Now, coming to the traditional practices that are unique to Sabarimala, few practices which makes the temple unique. They were talking about the religious denomination. Sabarimala is definitely a religious denomination because you have so many unique practices to this temple. First thing is this Irumudi, the tying of Irumudi and Neyyabhishekam, which is nowhere seen in any other temple or any form of worship. Because this practice is followed right from the day of Manikandan. Once Dharmashastra was installed, Kerala people, they continued to worship the temple and visited the temple once a year, and they offered their worship as Irumudi. They used to walk from their own homes, similar to what Lord Manikandan carried when he was venturing into the forest. He carried this Irumudi. Similar to that, the devotees carried the Irumudi and offered to the Lord, which is the ghee is got out of pure cow's milk, and it is offered to the Lord as Abhishekam. And even with this Irumudi, there is those who have gone to Sabarimala, you might have seen a place called Neithoni at Sabarimala. There is a reason for the Neithoni, because as I said, the Vigraham of Ayyappan was changed quite a number of times. And during 1800s, the Vigraham was made of Darushila, which is wooden idol. So doing a practical Abhishekam was not possible. So the devotees, they used to carry the ghee, they just show in front of the Lord, they break open the Irumudi and deposit the ghee in the Neithoni. Until at least some, and later date the present Vigraham was installed, the other story is different. And till recently, to my knowledge, some 10 to 15 years back, the first Abhishekam was done from the Neithoni, and many devotees still believe that if they are not able to do the Neyyabhishekam today, they break open their Irumudi and deposit the ghee in the Neithoni. But Devasambod has conveniently stopped using the Neithoni, and they are directly selling it in the counters. That is what is happening. And again, one unique tradition of Sabarimala is this Irumudi. The second is Padanattam, above which the Lord is stationed. The most important thing is the long route. The path by which Lord Manikandan came to the temple is called the traditional path or the long road, which is it is called Pungavanam, that is Bhagavan's paradise. It is a forest actually, stretching up to 41 miles, starting from Erimeli, ending at Sannidhanam. Before the independent India, it was the Tamil Nadu and Kerala was a united place, and people of Kerala, they very well knew about this temple and their traditions. People of Tamil Nadu, the border states, what we call as Palakkad, Kanyakumari, Nagarkovil, this side, Tirunelveli people, they knew about Sabarimala temple, and they came to the Sabarimala temple following all these practices. For the rest of the country, the entire Sabarimala and its ritual and its practices was totally new and unheard of. And in the year 1960, after the formation of new government, the Devasambod, everything was formed. In the year 1960, the ex-president of India, V.V. Giri, he was the then governor of Kerala. V.V. Giri wanted to visit Sabarimala shrine, but he was not ready to trek the 41 miles path. So just for the sake of the governor, the short route, or what you call Pamba route, was created originally. The Pamba route, the entire road was laid up to Pamba, and V.V. Giri was brought to Pamba, and from Pamba to the shrine is around 5 kilometers. He was not ready to even walk that 5 kilometers. So a system called Doli was introduced to Sabarimala for the first time. Doli means there will be an easy chair and 4 persons will be carrying you. And it is said, there is a legend that people were invited from Tamil Nadu to carry this governor of Kerala, but they were so afraid that they said, we won't break the tradition of Sabarimala and we will be earning the wrath of the deity. Later, the Devasam officers and officials and other people, they promised a government job for each of the person. They persuaded them, and then they carried the then governor of Kerala to Sabarimala, and there came the Doli system. And the family of Pandalam, as I said, it is a branch of Pandyan dynasty, and they were instrumental in rebuilding the temple. And considering Arya Keralavarman as an incarnation of manifestation of the Lord, they have a special right with the temple, and they are considered to be having the father status of the deity. But in today's scenario, the temple is controlled by the Travancore Devasam Board. So there is a history behind that. During 1780s, during Tipu's invasion to Kerala, the Pandalam kingdom, for the sake of war expenses, they mortgaged their total assets to the Travancore kingdom. So in due course, they were unable to recover the mortgaged properties, and hence the entire properties became a part of Travancore, including Sabarimala. This is how Sabarimala temple went under the control of the Travancore kings. But generally it is a practice when a temple is taken, its jewelry and everything will be absorbed by the king. But in the case of Sabarimala, the Travancore royals left the Thiruvabaranam and other properties of Sabarimala with the Pandalam family itself and asked them to continue the tradition and not to disturb the tradition for any sake, and continue the tradition of bringing the jewelry to the Lord on the same Magaravalakku day. In addition to that, the Kavadiyar Palace of Trivandrum used to sponsor a Kanya Ayyappan every year without break, and they come on as a representative of the king to the Sabarimala shrine on Magaravalakku and offer the Neymudra. This practices, it continues till today. And today morning I was speaking about the Neymudra brought from Kavadiyar Palace to the Sabarimala shrine. And similar to Thiruvabaranam, yes, next. This is about the long route I was talking. Next. Similar to the Thiruvabaranam, His Highness Balarama Varma has made a Tanga Angi, a golden Angi of 420 sovereigns, and has offered that to Sabarimala. That is what we are seeing, which is offered to the Lord or adorned to the Lord on Mandala Puja, that is on December 25th or 26th. And with the formation of Kerala state in 1957, the control of Sabarimala temple went from the Travancore family to the Travancore Devasam Board. And very soon the Travancore Devasam Board came under the control of Kerala state government. And unilaterally, in 1960s, it was decided that one member from the royal family should be a part of TDB in order to maintain the traditions and practices. But conveniently, it was forgotten and the practice is totally stopped, and no member from the royal family is now in the board. Right. And coming to the other families associated to the temple, as I said, during the process of rebuilding the temple around 10th century, the warrior families which were associated with Pandalam, that is the Alangadu and Ambalapuzha, they were given a special status after the rebuild of the temple. The Ezhunalippu or procession that is happening next day to Magaravalakku, the Alangadu families are the traditional warriors of Pandalam, and they have a procession in Sannidhanam from Maligapuram Devi Sannidhi to Painattamadi. And they have a special privilege of doing separate Neyyabhishekam and Mandiradi Puja on the second day of Magaram. Similarly, the other set of warriors, the Ambalapuzha Yogam, they also perform special rites at Sannidhanam. But definitely these practices came much later after the Puranic era, probably after the rebuilding the temple by Arya Keralavarman. So again, I'm stressing on this point, the temple existed much before, and Ayyappan or Arya Keralavarman merged with the Lord who was in penance. And talking about this Ezhunalippu, next one. This procession in Ezhunalippu, it is often called, so many stories are cooked up with Sabarimala. It is often called Maligapuram Ezhunalippu. Maligapuram is another section in Sabarimala. That is, one section is the Dharmashastra's temple, and the other section is the Devi temple. And there are so many claims about the Devi. The Pandalam royals claim that it is their Kuladevata Madurai Meenakshi. But as usual, from the books which are available, there is a story which is cooked up that the Devaness Mahishi assumed the form of a Devi and requested Ayyappan to marry her. And Ayyappan said, since I am a brahmachari, I am a celibate, you wait till the end of Kali Yuga or till Kanya Ayyappan is not coming to Sabarimala. Based on this, many stories are cooked up. And the Maliyapuram Elunalippu, Devaswambod has published a book in which it is written, the Devi is coming to Sharanguti, a place called Sharanguti, to check up whether a new Ayyappan has turned out or not. And every new Kanya Ayyappan will deposit a replica of an arrow there at this place, and seeing this, she will be returning back with a sorrow mood, which is totally absurd actually, because in the procession, which the bimbam or the figure which is brought out in the elephant is not of Maliyapuram, it is of Ayyappan himself. But it is called Maliyapuram Elunalippu, and a super story has been written based on that. Next picture. Next one. See the image. It is having a clear moustache. It is having a clear moustache, and it is called Maliyapuram. Just because it is called Maliyapuram Elunalippu, the story is very popular among the many devotees. It is brought from Maliyapuram, that's all. That is the reason it is called Maliyapuram Elunalippu. The actual person who is coming on the elephant is Lord Ayyappan himself. Back. One more. And this is another important ritual of Sabarimala. It is called Gurudi, which will be happening actually today evening. That is at the end of Magaravalaka Utsavam. Just before the closure of the shrine, it is called Veliya Gurudi. In front of the Manimandapam it will be happening. It is mainly due to ward off all the negative forces that have been accumulated during the entire Mandala Kalam or Magara Kalam. That is done mainly to please the Bhutaganas of Lord Dharmashastra. And generally, it is done after closing the temples, and the male Shantis of this temple, they don't attend this Gurudi and they move away. It is mainly to please all the Bhutaganas for not hindering or not harming all the devotees who come to the festival. So, if you observe the entire scenario or entire history of Sabarimala and traditions and rituals of Sabarimala, the role of each community on everything is actually well defined. The puja and the tantra practices is from the Nambudiri side. The Velichapad or the oracle is from the Pattar or what you call as Tamil Brahmins. They have that rights. And this Elunalippu is done by the Alangad Ambalappuzha Yogam, who are from Nair families. And the Gurudi Puja is done by a community called Kurpan family. And along with these people, last year we had a claim that Sabarimala originally belonged to Malayarayammar. That was a big controversy actually. That is again cooked up by the state government, because they are coming with so many stories with Sabarimala. They say it is a Buddhist shrine. They say it is a Jain shrine. Then they say it is a hill deity of Malayarayammars. If you are talking with one argument, we can at least consider something. If you are coming with so many arguments, that itself shows it is a cooked up one. So the Malayarayammars, actually they had some rights with Sabarimala, because they had the right of bringing honey in a bamboo stick to Sabarimala for Magaravalaka Abhishekam. And they had the right of lighting the Magaradibam for Magaravalakku. And they also had the right of worshipping the Maladevadamar behind the Maliyapuram shrines. And it is said there were some animal sacrifices, and it was stopped long back. And this, next slide. And this particular statue was there behind the Maliyapuram shrine. Even I remember seeing this when I was a child, which was it is a stone idol of a goat, which is representing the rites of Malayarayammars worshipping to this particular shrine. And the Devaswambod, as usual, snatched all the rites from the Malayarayammars. And this particular statue was also removed. It is seen nowhere now. And now coming to the interesting subject, the Vavar and Sabarimala. This again, it has nothing to do with the Puranic episode, and it was cooked up much later. See, Islam as a religion was formed probably some 1500 years ago, very maximum. And there is no way it entering into India, penetrating into South India, deep Kerala, coming to Sabarimala, that was so remote, hilly terrain. And it has no role with the Puranic episode of Manikandan. The Bhutanatha Upakyanam, or the Puranic text, it talks about worshipping one Bhutagana of Manikanta, one among the 8 Bhutaganas, who was named Vapuran, at a place called Mahishi Marika Vanam. The Puranic name of Erimeli. Mahishi Marika Vanam, the literal translation becomes Erimai Kolli, now called as Erimeli. Then how this Vavar came into picture? That is how this Islamic Vavar got a place at Erimeli, and how people started going to that shrine. We have an interesting story to that. In early 1940s, a well-known drama artist, Nawab Rajamanikam Pillai, actually he came with his drama troupe. He was very famous for Puranic dramas and other things. He came to Kerala once, to Alappuzha, for staging his drama, some drama. One of the devotees, he approached Rajamanikam Pillai with a strange request that there is a deity in our place called Sabarimala Ayyappan. You must please stage his life story. Initially, Rajamanikam Pillai was too reluctant to write a new script and stage a new drama. But after hearing the story, he was so impressed. He decided to visit the shrine, have the darshan of the deity, and then decide. So he came with 2 troops. One troop came via the traditional route from Erimeli to Sannidhanam. The other group came via Pulmedu. The other group was led by a Malayali person from his group, who was called Manjeri Narayanan. Manjeri Narayanan led the second group from Pulmedu route, and Rajamanikam Pillai led the actual route from Erimeli to Pamba. They had the darshanam. They were totally impressed. Then they decided to stage the drama. So he started collecting all the information about Ayyappan, and this particular Manjeri Narayanan was made to play the role of Pandalam Raja, who is none other than Manjeri Narayanan Nambiyar, M.N. Nambiyar of Tamil Nadu. M.N. Nambiyar, cinema actor M.N. Nambiyar, thus became the first Pandalam Raja in the drama. And we have the poster, yes. The drama poster of 1949, if I am right. Swami Ayyappan drama.